Okay, my darling Taurus, welcome to your April reading. We will navigate the rest of the eclipse in the beginning of the month. And then as energies settle a little bit, we'll look forward to what are the themes for you? What are the shadow aspects? So we can really understand how to prepare, how to navigate, how to integrate through this month. Your season will be coming up soon. So you can probably feel not the pressure building, but the energy building towards what is a more natural, collective soup energy for you. And that will give us this transition into that earthy phase, because I know you love the earthiness, Taurus, my goodness. So whether you have a Taurus sun, moon, or rising, this should still be quite relevant. And you can keep on checking in over the months to see how it's playing out for you, right? So we introduce the themes, and then as the month progresses, we can look into how that's manifesting for you. So how is it actually showing up? What does that energy mean for you personally? How can you now see and track how it sort of manifests and shows itself to you so that we can possibly at the end of the month take note, do some journaling, do some extraction of the wisdom and the truth that found itself to you. Hindsight is still a very excellent tool to say, when I was in that, I couldn't quite grasp it, but now I see it from a different vantage point and I can understand either what spirit was trying to tell me or what needed to come to the surface for healing, or what my shadow can now integrate into the light so that I can move forward again with more understanding of myself and of the world and what I would like to pursue. The big calling, the big calling for purpose is what I've been working with a lot with my clients recently. And usually from a place of they understand that purpose is now important for not only mental health, but our health overall. Without purpose, I think for those of you that are very much waking up and pursuing higher states of consciousness as well, it's one thing to have one awakening, but it's a whole nother thing to say, I actually think that moving through higher states of awareness really is necessary for me and my soul and my journey. And being in pursuit of that is a lot of inner work. It's a lot of confronting shadow work. It's a lot of healing. So when we are in pursuit of that, we get this idea that purpose is not only important to give us something to pursue, because it could be a very long life with a lot of work to do and a lot of things to experience and feel and understand and grasp. And we need something that does, quote unquote, get us out of bed in the morning. And the codependent bubble that we've all been in has said other people are our purpose, right? We just have to find the partner and have the kids and find the people that we can devote ourselves to. But we have to face the very harsh truth that everyone in this life is temporary and they're in their own reality and they're pursuing their own story. So is it enough to focus on people for our sense of purpose? Or do we need another question to hold, another project or idea to pursue? It could be that in one chapter in my life, a person in my life is my purpose, but knowing that one day they won't be there, or possibly I won't be here, or we won't make it, means that I must have something else that I can pursue with myself that keeps me alive, keeps me in the game, keeps me well and in tune and engaged with something bigger, right? I think we are designed to have that sense of wonder. I do actually think it's really important to us. And it comes in interestingly, Taurus, because your whole reading is about swords. So it is about the mind, it's about belief systems, it's about understanding from an intellectual place, where are we? What are we doing? Why are we in this? and coming into a place of healthy sword energy. Healthy sword energy is the reason why people write books and libraries are around, and the reason why we can sit down and have meaningful conversations with ourselves and other people just in the construct of the mind and how our thoughts and belief systems shape our life. That's beautiful sword energy, but the shadow of sword energy is feeling mentally confused and in suffering and pain and anguish from our thoughts, because they can create realities that have us imprisoned in who we think we are. So how we're all waking up at the moment is understanding that our mental capacity is evolving. And if we continue to be slaves to our mind, we will get stuck in that construct over and over again. And it's very risky. It's quite dangerous. So I guess and I'm probably going on a tangent here, but it'll speak to me through the cards eventually. Is the mind the best leader for our lives? Doesn't mean that you can't put your intelligence away. It doesn't mean you can't be an academic. It means, do you want your thoughts to be your reality? Do you want to be your thoughts? Do you want your thoughts to govern who you are all the time? Do you think your mind is a good master? I have come to believe that master, no. Ally, yes. Collaborator, for sure. Hugely interesting part of my life, 100%. Master, no. I think the only true master is the heart emperor, which is leading from a place of connection and trust and compassion. And sometimes compassion doesn't make sense. And most of the time, trust doesn't make sense either. But it's a choice to continue to trust and open your heart to the world and to people and to paradigms of compassion, rather than let your mind decide if connection is too risky. Can I trust that person? Is this a good idea? I see a lot of people get trapped there. Okay, so your reading is Queen of Swords energy is here. Queen of Swords is a very intellectually minded queen. She comes in quick to the tongue, very articulate with her words, could probably break someone with her words very easily, but also inspire and empower and educate with her words as well. So we're looking at focusing that energy of how to use the spoken language very well, how to align and organize your thought systems and your belief systems around what you're trying to achieve in the world. So this goes to the paradigm of, if you want to believe that your thoughts create your reality, what are we creating with our thoughts, our speech, and our belief systems every single day, right? And you can see someone's belief systems in how they act. It usually happens thoughts into actions, into behaviors, into habits, into skill set, which shape our life completely. But if you go back to the thoughts, if you give thoughts all of your power and you do everything that your thoughts say and you react to all of your thoughts, I think it's giving something that should be in a place of exploration too much power over your actions, because really actions are the things that speak who you are. I might have a difficult day one day and my thoughts might be dark or uncomfortable or represent negativity, but I have the choice whether to act upon that thought or not. So the level of awareness would be, even though I'm feeling distrusting and jealous and envious and angry and fearful, do I want those thoughts to create my paradigm? Or do I want to act upon, even though it's uncomfortable, do I want to act upon compassion, openness, trust, faith? Right? So even though I might feel uncomfortable and my thoughts are telling me that there's danger around, do I want to act from a place of fear or from a place of love? Right? even though it doesn't make sense to my mind in the beginning. So that Queen of Swords energy, she would have to be empowering in her nature to know that the intellectual space is where she gets all of her wisdom, possibly all of her medicine, but it could also be a place that can create demise in her world. So are we going to use our sharp intellect and our verbal mastery for good or for bad? As I said, she could be quick with the tongue. She could destroy you in a few words. Do we want to have that energy out in the world, or do we want to make a different choice, right? Because we could be entrapping ourselves in the paradigm of the mind all too often, blindfolding ourselves to the truth, being in mental anguish around, look how many swords are in this, around, is this right? Or should I do that? Or is that okay? Or is this going there? This looks like anxiety and despair at the same time for me. She's bound and blindfolded, which means she's starting to put herself in a prison. So you might be able to sort everybody out with a sharp tongue, but is that going to create the paradigm that you're trying to create for yourself? This does not look like a place of sovereignty, relaxation, compassion, and all those beautiful things that Taurus is so good at, right? Earth energy is warm and nourishing and stable and strong. This is air energy. This is sword energy. Be mindful, for lack of a better term, of where you're mind fucking yourself, right? Because if we go back one step to the Queen, she has a choice. She has power. She has leadership. She has the capacity to organize resources with her mind. So please get your journals out, do the inner work, sit down and talk to your friends. This is a very conversational energy that says, am I creating the life that I want for myself? Is my mind clear? Do I experience freedom of thought, curiosity, and creative belief systems that serve me? Because if we can understand that part, we can move into a much freer energy, which is Page of Swords. So Page of Swords is a young masculine energy that provides interesting intellectual spaces, new thoughts, new ideas, new paradigms, new conversations, new places for our minds to create and construct together so that we can actually find out what fits. This does not speak of stubbornness, dear Taurus, which I know can be a problem for you. So sit down and have those conversations with yourself and with your loved ones around, well, how would my life change if my belief system was different? And what if I chose a different choice every day? And what if I decided based on a completely different flavor or tone in my life? What tangents would that take? This is the beautifully captivating intellectual space where we can share ideas, where we can sit down with each other and say, openly and respectfully, I actually want to let your belief system into my thought paradigm to see if it would help me to make different choices and organize my resources differently. Like I was sitting down with a friend recently, the question was, well, if you had a completely different past and a completely different ancestry, let's flip the switch, right? So if the script was, I've only ever had abundance and security in my life, how would I make this decision differently? And she answered, well, I would have the ability to take more risks, and I would take the adventure for what it needs to be, not for what it or how it could go wrong. We need more flexibility here. We need more focus on the mind, actually, Taurus. You may not be slowing down enough to consider different options. That's why divination is so powerful. Because it says, well, what if this timeline presents? That's interesting. What if this timeline presents? That's interesting. What if this timeline presents? How do I make a decision from the Queen of Swords? It would be like a decision that would lead others towards the truth. If I make a decision from a sense of entrapment, I'm going to facilitate more entrapment, which is a fear-based paradigm that is not freedom of thought. However, making a decision from a young sense of there's many different ways we could do this. There's many opportunities available. There is curiosity in the mind to say, well, I could open that door just to see what happens, just to see what that experience would feel like, for the sake of a healthy level of, I would like that experience. What would it mean for me if I took that experience? What would it mean for me if I opened those doors? What would it mean for me if I changed my belief system around my health, my lifestyle, my business, my relationships, my wealth? What would it mean? What if I felt free all the time? What decisions would I be making? What if I felt worthy all the time? How would my days change? How would my weeks change? How would my months and years and lifetime change? From a place of pure mental curiosity. And this is often how we can get out of difficult thought patterns. And I've often had to ask myself when I very much know this energy, well, what if everything that I'm thinking isn't the truth? What if it is all in my mind? And what if I had the ability to access different thought forms, belief systems, and timelines? So if I wasn't thinking completely negative about this experience, if I was thinking completely positive, only about the gifts and the silver linings and the positive aspects, how would it change how I'm feeling? If I only saw how this was good for me and how I very much needed it, which is a very queen place to come from, what would open up? So you're going to be asking yourselves a lot of big, deep questions, Taurus, and I'm really excited for you. Make sure you get those journals out. Ah, beautiful energy in the shadow too. So 33 is Fairy Wren. And if you're liking these cards, this is a deck that I created. I did the graphics, I did the booklet, I found the printers, I designed the box, I did every part myself, and I probably wouldn't do it that way again. However, I wanted to provide the shadow aspects of the animal spirits as a companion towards what I think is really important work, which is moving into the shadow and exploring it more often so that we don't stay in an egoic territory all the time. Because the shadow says, you don't know everything. The ego says, I know everything. So I find to get people out of this, which is the ego at play. This is the ego's in charge, right? And you're feeling trapped. The shadow says, well, maybe you don't have it all figured out. And maybe if we explored the parts that you don't want to look at, that you could open the mental plane to greater possibilities. So Fairy Wren speaks to us about how this energy, this sword energy, can move around a lot, but particularly that there's not one way to do something. There's infinite timelines with infinite possibilities. There is thousands of ways to skin a cat, as they say, and no one way is the truth, and no one way is right, and no one way is the only way to do something. Stop following everybody else. Stop waiting for other people to show you. Find your own way out of the entrapment that is not serving you. Be curious. The reason I really wanted to put Fairy Wren in the deck is because they are naturally promiscuous birds. They don't have one mate, they have many. And the males float around to as many different mates as they want in their own time and space. So there's no one right way to do it. There's no actual rule book to the parts in our life that are causing suffering. If you're suffering in your relationships, realize that you don't have to do it like anybody else does it. You can have freedom if you create it, if you're willing to do the work, if you come from curiosity and you have the conversations, the difficult conversations around, I'm not feeling free. And I'd really like to cultivate that with you or with my friends or with my boss or whatever. But we have to sit down and acknowledge that there's a problem first, realize that I might be focusing on the wrong parts. And instead of ruminating about, I don't feel free, I feel trapped, I feel trapped, I feel trapped, Page of Swords says, well, how would I create freedom in this relationship? What would it mean for me to feel free? And that will be different to your partner, different to your friend, different to the other people in your life. But exploring that is so important. And the shadow part that the ego doesn't like is really just addressing the problem in the beginning. I'm not feeling free. Do we have some time to sit down and brainstorm that? And it's not, I'm not feeling free, see you later. It's a heavy feeling. I'm not feeling free. And, could you sit down and discuss that with me without making it about yourself and just helping me to understand where my lack of freedom comes from and what part I'm playing and what part you might be playing and how we can strategize to get us out of it. Fairy Wren says, be promiscuous in your ideas. Don't just think there's only one way to do it and we have to do it this way and that's the way that my folks did it and that's the way everybody does it, so we're doing it. No, not really. It's that worked for us then. This might work for us now, but we have to keep on having those discussions and those conversations around, well, how do we both feel free in this? What does freedom mean? When do we know it's here? How do we feel it? And when do we feel trapped? And what contributes to that trapped feeling? And what part of that trapped feeling is mine and what part's yours? Very much about the conversations, Taurus. Good luck. I think you're going to have a great month. I love you so much. I'll see you next time. Bye.